Hi guys, and welcome to another F1 Clash video by myself as a WF1. This week we have another GP event and we are talking the Singapore Grand Prix, and this is how we line up with qualifying. So we have Singapore, Spain, Mexico and Singapore again. If you've watched my recent videos, you all know last week we had a disconnect which cost us second to third place in GP. So we're hoping to put that behind us. What we're using then, we are using Max Verstappen and a Daniel Ricciardo. And if it's wet, we will probably have a chance of using Lando Norris in there as well for his wet ability. So here we go then. Let's get on with it. This is a car we've got as well, so pretty standard setup, which I use mostly. And hopefully we can give champions a good run and maybe we'll get that lucrative P1 this time around. So champion entered. We have our first race up and it is Singapore. Here we go then, race number 1 in Singapore, and we have substituted Max Verstappen out and Lando Norris in for the wet ability, and that is a great qualifying start. We're using both McLaren drivers, P7 and P10, but we actually get a start in the rain here, which does make it quite interesting. So I'm going to go for my tyre boosts, and I'm going to split the strategy, and I'm going to go Hex for probably Norris, unless we've got any wet boosts with cornering. So probably Sa I'm going to go for with tyres as well. So that's probably my best bet. And we're going to start on the soft tyres. So if it's dry all the way, we'll do 4 and 3. And it might be 4 and 3 most of the way. So hopefully we get a good start, P7 and P10, as Ricciardo jumps up the inside. But we're going to go to the out, so we might lose a few positions or not. As Ricciardo then into P7 and Norris back in P11. And we're going to go and do 4 laps. And it might even be enough to get on wet tyres, because it's heavy rain, so we don't want to be out there when it starts to rain. As Daniel Rick, can we push him past? Not quite. We'll keep him boosting to this corner. So we'll keep P7. Looking around us, lap 4, some are going to go to, as Ricciardo loses another place to the medium tyre of Norris, which is strange. Something to keep an eye out for that one. Norris has jumped up into P10 though. And Ricciardo seems to be sort of flapping around here. It's like team orders are affecting him when they shouldn't be. And Norris loses 2 positions in that corner. So not really great running at the minute. It's very odd. We're losing positions to medium tyre runners, which should not be the case. But we'll stick with our strategy. That's what we do. And hopefully we'll go 4 laps and we'll reap the benefits of that. It's all going to be when this rain comes in, because I might need a good push. But we're going to have just over 2 minutes. So it's almost a minute a lap. So you might find that I actually go to wets and we pick up some positions later on. But we'll have to judge it correctly. But I'm not worried about pushing my drivers at the moment at all, because we want to keep the tyre management there. We want to push on that 4th lap. And you can see already P8 and P12. Can we move up further though? That's the question. Looks like we are going to be too short for wets, but it might only be by about 20 seconds. So you might still see me jump on the wets here, because we're going to start to boost Ricciardo in a second. So Ricciardo, we're going to boost from here. The gap at the minute is 5 seconds, so we're going to boost Norris as well. And 1 minute and 30, so we're going to see what we're like at the end of this lap. If it's 20 seconds, I'll pit for wet tyres. And I'll risk it. That's the plan. Let's see if it comes to fruition. I don't think it will, as Ricciardo gets into P5, nearly P4. As he loses out positions again, I don't get it. I just don't get that. And look, Ricciardo's just struggling completely. And I'm going to end up double stacking here. I'm going to have to pit wets. Soft, sorry. And I'm going to double stack. All because Ricciardo seems to be really struggling. And I don't understand why. I do not understand why Ricciardo's struggling so hard. I don't really want to use him if that's going to carry on to be the case. I'm going to have to pit this time round though, because we don't want to be on them dry tyres with heavy rain coming in. So we will get a chance to get up a few positions. There's people on hard tyres and mediums at the moment. So we've got a bit unlucky with the weather here because we're going to have to two-stop. And we will be able to go to the end, I believe, on the wet tyres with servicing. So we'll come in now and hopefully it lasts for more than a couple of minutes. And it does, it's 3 minutes. So Ricciardo comes back out in ninth place. And we should now be able to start flying up the grid because nobody else has pitted for wets, apart from one in front of Norris, Bottas. We need to get past Bottas, and then we can absolutely fly through the field. Norris, can he do it? We've run out of boost on that star, so I was kind of banking that the rain would come in when we pitted. So Norris ends 16th. And it is now 50% rain on here. And Norris now can't get past. Somehow Stroll, who's on dry tyres, as he gets him now finally. Ricciardo up to 4th. Make that 3rd, so we're probably going to win here. As 2nd place now, so Ricciardo absolutely flying. As Norris still stuck in P15 somehow. And it is terrible, terrible race for them. Ricciardo into the lead. Norris finally start getting past some dry tyre opponents. But it's 100% rain. And we're struggling to get past them. I don't get it. So frustrating of a race here. And hopefully we can sort that out, because we don't want that. But why would Norris not be able to get past all these drivers ahead? I don't know. Suddenly we go up the inside. P10. Can we get another position around this corner? We can't. So P1 and P10, 39 points. Awful race from my standards, but we'll move on to the next one. Race number 2 from Spain and the Barcelona Grand Prix. Another one of my favourite tracks on this game up there with Imola. And we've swapped back in Verstappen for Norris this time. But starting P7 and P11, so it's not the best start in the world, that's for sure. But we will see what happens when we come to give it a go. So we're going to split the strategies in terms of boosts, and we're going to go a bit more overtaking with Verstappen as before. Downforce we're going to have for the cornering and the tyres. So we're going to go 4 and 4 and hopefully have enough gap between the two drivers. It's my favourite strategy, 4 and 4. Ricciardo through the first corner. Can he keep his position? He can't. And suddenly P8 and P9 as we move up again. So not a bad start, but although Verstappen's just lost out a couple of positions. Feels a bit weird, this GP. Obviously we had a boosted Verstappen to level 8 last week and we were qualifying on the front row. And now we're qualifying mid-table. So it's going to make the weekend a bit tougher, that's certain. So down the straight then Ricciardo comes, P6. And we're going to try and get past P5, who are Lando Norris on the hard tyres. We don't want to get held up. And we nearly got past then, but somehow didn't. And now we're going to lose a spot. And the McLaren drivers have forgotten how to drive on this race. So this GP is not working out well for Ricciardo and Norris in the last one. And we're going to lose another spot. How are we losing so many spots? I don't get it. I mean, medium and hard we couldn't even get past. And suddenly we're falling back like no man's land. So that's frustrating. And Alonso will pit this lap, but it's not going to mean much to us, guys, because we need to be pulling that gap. As Ricciardo tries to go around the outside, we have got tyres to play with, which is a bonus. As Alonso will come in the pit now, will go stupidly wide. You couldn't write this at all. Ricciardo down the home straight. And can we get a place here up the inside? Well, around the outside we go instead. P5. And can we chuck one up for P4? Not quite. But we're not in a bad position. We are going to be pretty fast towards the end of this Grand Prix as Ricciardo gets P4. And Verstappen now comes into the pits for the same strategy. But that lumberjack should help him be pretty quick. Ricciardo will go to the end. And so will Verstappen, who's done a lengthy pit stop, it seems, as he comes back out all the way down in P19. I'm not sure if he got stuck in the pits or not, but he seemed to be in there a while. And suddenly we're behind the rival. So I don't really know what's happening with us at the moment, guys. But P7 for Ricciardo now becomes P6 and P5. So it's all... Verstappen's down to 18th now, coming back through them positions. So a very, very odd GP event so far. And now we're back up into 10th place. So I don't know how, but Verstappen ended up far down the field. And now we're P3 and P9. So can Ricciardo get past Leclerc, who is on the medium tyre? Down the first corner, can't get it done. As Verstappen comes around the last corner. This lumberjack should help him massively. And it does, P8. Ricciardo still can't get past Leclerc, which is coming the biggest frustration as P2 now for us. Verstappen's P1, but he is on the hard tyre, so there is a chance we can chase him down. Whether or not we do is a different thing, because he is running out of fuel, which is not the best. But P7 Verstappen into P6, and we have just the hard medium tyres ahead of him. He can go to the end, and Ricciardo I'm going to have to cut down. So it's not worked out too bad in the end, but Verstappen did drop back massively as we get P5. So that is a second and a fifth, which is pretty good considering 4 laps ago, we were in P18. So 43 points on the board as we take that to the third race. Race number 3, and we have Mexico City. Another good track on this calendar, and hopefully we can get another decent scoring of points. So we've got Ricciardo 7 and Verstappen 10th. Bit of rain in the air as well, which would make it interesting. So I am going to keep a 4 and a 4 for both of them. I was thinking about a 5 and a 4, but I'm not going to now. I'm going to keep to the 4 and 4. And hopefully the rain comes in when we're off. So 2 minutes, the rain's definitely going to come in. We are on the right tyre as well, which is a benefit as we start the race. And P7, P10, let's see where we can get up to. And let's see how long the rain comes in for as well. So P6 for Ricciardo, up to P5, and Verstappen into P8, going into P7. So good start. Can Ricciardo go up the inside? He can. So P4 for Ricciardo, and we'll cut Verstappen down in P7. So great start, and even better for Verstappen, who gets into P6. So from 7th and 11th to 4th and 6th, halfway around the first lap. Brilliant start. So we're just going to hold now, going to conserve and pretty much save these tyres for the rain coming in. With 2 minutes left until that does start to happen. That should roughly be around when we're looking to pit, if not slightly earlier. But we'll see what happens. I didn't realise it was quite a wet percentage, but it's not going to hurt us too much anyway. Remember, with boosts, we've got lumberjack, which is the speed and the overtaking, basically for the big straight that we've got here as well. And we've also got the acceleration and overtaking for Verstappen with that herald. So some decent boosts on display here. And we're actually going to be quite early before the rain comes in. I think we're going to be having to try and stretch this out, and it might be that I go 5 laps because, well, I think I am. I think I'm going to have to push to lap 5, guys. 5 guys, no pun intended. Other fast food restaurants are available. P4 then, and P6. So we definitely don't want to pit yet with that rain coming in. And we'll keep it as it is for now. Looking at the pit stops, they are going to pit ahead of us. And I'm not going to push it too hard. Verstappen's going to have to pit, I feel. And I am going to put him on the mediums just in case that rain isn't as strong as it may be. And Verstappen can start pushing now. And he comes out in P9. We should get another 2 laps off this. So hopefully the AI pits for soft tyres and not wets. I'm going to pit for wets. I'm going to go early. And by the time I've come out, it should pretty much start to rain, give or take 3 or 4 seconds. So Verstappen comes around in P7. He's overtook by doing the undercut. And Ricciardo comes out in 7th. The only one on wet, so we're hoping that this works. And it is 2 minutes of rain as well. So we've pretty much 2.5 laps to go. Ricciardo should move his way up. And Verstappen I'm going to bring in here. And we're not going to service as we go P4. And we're going to bring him in because there's a chance here of getting some decent points again. 17 rain at the moment as Verstappen comes out in P6. Ricciardo in P4. And we should start, we've got a 5-second gap to the lead, so we should start getting past all these now and making our way up. Can we get a 1-2? We've only got a lap to go, so probably not. It's probably too far out the equation. But P3 for Ricciardo, and that will be soon to be P2. And I tell you what, Verstappen is motoring, but not quick enough. As Ricciardo sort of dances around that corner, not very well. So Ricciardo then, he's got 2nd and 1st right in front of him. He can't get past though on the wets. And he is now past. And it will be not a P1 somehow. P1 and P4, we should not. 5 seconds across the line, last lap, wets to mediums, and we can't even get it. But 2nd and 4th, we will take that. It's 44 points with 1 race to go. Race number 4, and it is Singapore. 33% chance of rain. I went with dry ability drivers, which are better, and it's raining. Standard. But where we start, P7 and 10, which looks like is going to be the start positions during this GP. So let's see what we can do from P7 and P10. We're going to select some tyre boosts and we're going to run the soft strategy. So one of my best strategies I feel on this track, going 4 laps soft, 3 laps soft, all the way to the end. So let's see if we get a decent start then. Ricciardo into the middle and it's going to get cut out a little bit. Can we make position up through the inside? We can. And it's actually Verstappen who's in P8 as they swap round. Ricciardo back in then. And can we move up past P7, which is a medium tyre, as my 2 drivers start squabbling between each other. Can Ricciardo get past Hamilton into this corner? Gone wide, and he will get past. Sadly, Verstappen loses out of place, but will get past Hamilton. P7 then, P7 and 9. I do need to build about a 4.5 second gap between the two to be able to not double stack. And we do have Max Verstappen ahead of us. And there's going to be a chance for an overtake here. Not quite, as Verstappen goes wide, but doesn't get hurt too bad. And the gap now we've got is 2.3. So we're building that gap nicely. The rival's only going to do 3 laps on that tyre, and we'll come back for mediums or hard. Same with all the AI in front of me now. So all the AI on soft tyres I'll get past during the pit stops. So P6 for Ricciardo, moved up really well there. And we've got, coming back in now, a medium tyre ahead of Verstappen. And a soft tyre still ahead of Ricciardo. So we'll keep conserving for now, we don't need to push. The gap's at about 3 seconds. As Ricciardo goes wide, but we keep the position. And Verstappen currently 9th still. About 3/4 of a lap to go until we start pushing a bit more. And we are going to have 3 drivers ahead of us and a couple behind us all pit. And Ricciardo goes wide, but we keep the position. And Verstappen now nicely in P9. So here we go then, it's time to push. So what we'll do is we'll get to the bridge. Remember, we only need 25% tyres across the line. So we'll get to here and we'll push a bit later than the bridge. We'll make sure Verstappen comes out in front if we can, but he's not going to get ahead of the Ferrari and the cars at pit. But they are on hards, so we might get past them. But we are going to go onto the soft. And Ricciardo is now chasing down the hard tyre. And we get past them, which means we can create a little bit of a gap as Verstappen comes into 6th. Remember guys, if anybody of the AI or your rival use soft tyres to start with on Singapore, their last strategy, so if they go 3 laps, they're going to have to go medium or hard, and they can't push all the way to the end. They'll have to conserve. So if you pit later, you've got a massive chance of running a lot past them. And here you go, look, Ricciardo was, before them pit stops, was like P5, P4, and is now into the lead already. Verstappen comes out P9, will get ahead of this Gasly, and now Verstappen will want to close the gap, and he should do that fairly quickly because the rest of the field are on medium and hard. And there you go, P8 already for Verstappen. Can he get into P7? Goes wide, which might hurt us, which it does. Sadly, that does hurt us. But can we get it back? Hopefully team orders come into play here and we can jump up a position. As Ricciardo is flying out in the lead. So can Verstappen go up the inside into this corner on Perez? He can. So back into P8 now. Sadly, that was a lap too long behind them. And now we're behind the medium tyre of Verstappen. With a lap and a half to go, lap and 3/4. Can we get him down into one of the good opportunities of overtaking here? Not quite. So still being stuck. We should have definitely had more points in the bag for this one. As our Ricciardo flying out in the lead. Considering was only 4 seconds the gap when they pitted, 5 seconds maybe max, we're now 24 seconds behind Ricciardo. So P8 turns into P7, and now it doesn't turn into P7. I think we forgot how to overtake on this GP round because it's been hard work on the soft tyres and the Taurus boost. Even though it's gave us a little bit of cornering, it's just not helped us with the overtake. But can we get any more points as a consolation? And we're not, and we're going to lose out again to Perez. I don't know how that's happening, guys. We have forgot to overtake. Like, we are a good second ahead, and because Verstappen went wide, my Verstappen goes wide, which shouldn't happen. But across the line, it will be P9. And a lot of work to do. 40 points. Rival only on 16. And we're going to have to see what we can do with the opening round, because we need to score a bit better than that. That's for certain. So fingers crossed, in the opening round we do, and we can push on again. So we had a lot better team score than that guy. Good lucky match up there. And looking at where we are, P2 in qualifying, so it doesn't really matter too much where we are, but P2, 166 points. We scored a 39, a 43, a 44 and a 40 pointer, and we'll happily take a nice qualification into the next round. So guys, make sure you do join me on Saturday for the qualifying in our pursuit to get that P1 in Champs.